Hey guys, this is Merlini of Merlini Dota, and I'm here to present to you Merlini's Mailbag episode 20. It's been a long time coming, but I've been busy with TI3 and moving and whatnot, but I'm finally back on track with the series, and the topic of this one is the secret to micromanagement. And I selected this crystal ball sort of thing because people think it's some sort of like magical ability to be able to micromanage multiple units, to be able to play Chen, Visage, Enchantress, all those sorts of heroes. So I'm here to shed some light on how exactly you play those type of heroes. So the actual question that I got this week was from a guy named Kevin, and the message was, "Hey Merlini, I have just started Dota not too long ago and was wondering about heroes that involve micros. Now my question is for heroes like Enchantress and Chen, do we have to reset the command for every creep I enchant? Or is there one way to do it so that every game or every creep I enchant, I don't need to reset the command for it? Been wondering this for a long time and couldn't find the answer online. Thank you for the answer. Your streams are awesome, should reconsider to play in competitive scene. And if you don't mind, can you tell me your command controls for your micro units for Enchantress, for example?" So actually, yesterday, 9/23, or I'm actually recording this on the day of the patch, but the day before, we actually have Dota 2 First Blood, and included in this update are control groups are now saved to the cloud per hero and will persist across games and disconnects. They are saved per hero, which makes things a lot easier for everybody, including myself. So, um, what are some tips and or secrets I can use to improve my micromanagement skills or abilities? So firstly, you've been tricked. There isn't a trick or tip that will turn you into a micromaster in a day. The key to success, as with most things, is practice. Unfortunately, that is not a good answer for everybody because you guys want to know how to get better and you don't want to hear just practice. So I will just give some more information. I, as well as many other old school players, come from Warcraft 3, which was where the Dota 1 engine was, and along with playing Dota, I played a lot of Warcraft 3 ladder. So we have this very strong RTS background, and if you've ever played Warcraft 3, you have a hero to worry about, you have an army to worry about, you're like creeping stuff. I played Night Elf, so I was like creeping with my buildings too, and then you have to like manage your gold and buy items. On top of that, you have to like harvest lumber, and you have to like make sure you keep building buildings and training units. So there's so many more things you have to worry about other than just your hero. And to me, Dota is actually relatively simplistic. You just have one hero, you just need to like look around the map, but in terms of actual controlling stuff, it's usually your hero, maybe your chicken too, and sometimes you have to worry about a few other things, like if you're Chen, you have your creeps to worry about too. But for the most part, I find that after coming from this RTS background, Dota 2 is pretty easy. But if you didn't, you can always play StarCraft, you can play Warcraft 3, you can play Footman and or Zealot Frenzy, if you need more practice or if you want to see what sort of background we come from and how other games compare. And I think that StarCraft players also have like no problem with heroes like Meebo. It just seems like really simple, like Marine micro. And I don't think these sort of heroes, Meepo, Chen, etc., are like difficult per se. It just requires a different skill set, which most Dota players don't actually have. So it's difficult in a sense, but not in the traditional sense. Like the learning is not that difficult. It just requires a lot of practice, which most people don't have. So the first thing is you have to use control groups. I use control groups every single game. You use control plus number to set a group, shift plus number to add someone to a group. I'll outline these while I play Dota in just a second. You use shift click to add or remove a unit, and you double tap a number to center your camera around a group, whatever number you tapped. And I always set my hero to 1, and I usually set my chicken to 3 because I don't want to accidentally select my hero as I'm selecting the courier and vice versa. So I make sure that it's at least one space apart from my furthest hotkey. This kind of gets confusing for heroes like Meepo and Syllabear, but I'll talk about what exact groups I use later too. And in terms of miscellaneous tips, you want to use shift queuing a lot because this will lessen your keystrokes because you won't have to click around doing multiple things at once. You can just shift queue everything. You can't shift queue everything, but you can shift queue a lot of things. And you can also practice 5v5s versus your friends. So one way that I got better at managing multiple units in Dota was actually playing 5v5 bot mode, or not bot mode, 5v5 multiple hero mode in Dota 1 using cheats. And I would play this first Pusher Street a lot before warm-ups, and it would just get your fingers flowing and get you in the mood for Dota. Some people would just play 1v1 in mid, but I like to do this, and we would just pick 5 heroes. Some heroes were banned because they were too imbalanced. I think Silencer was banned because it was pretty ridiculous. But some other ones were banned too. But for the most part, like, you can just go in with a Song of the Siren, you blink in, you split, you like split up your images, whatever, you wait for your thing to, and you blink Ravage. After that, you follow up with the RP, Skewer Away, Shockwave. He comes in, Echoes, Enchant, and then you want to do all this stuff with your bear, return, attack, attack. So I can like execute a team fight as 5 as one person, and if you can do that, you can certainly execute just like one of these simple 5 heroes, which is just like Naga. You type dash refresh to refresh and just like, okay, sleep, do this. I forgot to cast Riptide last fight, so like something like this, and just splitting and just casting Riptide when it ends, boom, Riptide, done. And something like that is very easy, not to mention following up with everything else. So I would practice this fairly often, and if there were a hero or like a 5-man hero right here, they would just be completely owned. Ravage, boom, like, I can even cast everything like at one point if I want to. So, like, and just for like simple heroes like Lone Druid, I have Control 1 as my hero, Control 2 as my bear, and then Control 3 as both, because sometimes you actually need to control both at once, and you don't want to do like 1 click, 2 click. You don't want to just do 3 click, and then you save yourself 2 keystrokes, which is very, very useful. And then when I have multiple units, I usually put my courier on 5. Meepo makes things a little bit difficult, because if you have Scepter Meepo, you just have so many little monkeys flying around that it's really difficult to control. But usually like 1 for the first Meepo, 2 for the second Meepo, 3, 4, etc. And then 1 group to select them all. What else? For Chen, I usually just have 1 for my hero, and then like every time I get a creep, I just do like shift 2 or something like that to add it to my control group. And if you notice, like, I'll just do like all these heroes of control 1, Earthshaker, Lone Druid, Magnus, Naga, Siren, Tidehunter, and Syllabear. So if I want to just like deselect the Earthshaker or deselect the Chen creep, as most people will do, you just shift click. You can shift click on the portrait, you can shift click on the hero to add them back, whatever you want. Notice like 6 and it's back down to 5. You can just shift click and just be left with 1 unit if you want. So shift click actually helps a lot. And then oftentimes I'll be like looking around the map. I'm pretty sure most of you know that my camera's like very jerky, but if I make like 1, 2, 3, 4, I can just like bounce around to various points around the map very, very quickly. 1 to get to the T2, 2 to get to the T3, 3 to get to Earthshaker, and 4 to get to Magnus. And then this way you can have like get center around a important part around the map very easily, instead of having to like manually do it. This is much slower than 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously you can't do that with every hero, but you can actually set specific hotkeys for like Rune or like Roshan or whatever you want. For Chen in particular, I like to use shift queuing. Shift queuing is just like if I want to like penitence a creep or penitence a hero. Let's pretend this is a hero and I want to kill him, and this is a centaur I want to stomp. So I'm like coming from the jungle, I want to kill him. I'll like press Q, click on this, shift right click, so I'll attack after the penitence, and then I'll micro my creep. So watch me do that. I'll like move over here, Q, click, right click, and then just micro my creep. And then I'll start attacking the creep, and all the whole time I'm microing this Wild Wing. Obviously it's more difficult versus heroes, but this way you don't have to worry about your hero while you're controlling your creep. You know that it's going to execute the last given command, which is attacking, and you want to get that penitence off too, or test of faith, or whatever it may be. So shift queuing's pretty useful. Also, if I like want to TP on a tower and blink out while like managing my HOD creep and stacking, I can do that. And I actually missed a blink. But like if I want to like blink RP, shift, you don't really want to shift queue this, because it'll be like, watch this, if I like move here and then you'll see there's like a really long chasm. I have my hand up, so look how long it takes them to skewer. It just takes a really long time. But I can do all those commands with shift if I wanted to, so you can imagine how you would do that with like a Wild Wing if you want to like move your tornado from like here to here to here, and like in a square formation instead of just like a simple line and just sitting there, you can execute shift commands to make it move around a little bit more. So be creative what you do. I've practiced like Lone Druid for like a month straight just so I could practice with this bear, and just like, for example, like right click with my Lone Druid on creeps to get gold, right click on heroes with my Spirit Bear and like return it, and then it just takes a lot of practice in order to get these down. I know that Rise of X Absolute Legends just play like Enchantress Enchant exclusively for like a month or two to get good with the heroes. So there's no magical solution. You just have to play them a lot, and unfortunately, people don't want to hear that, but that's just how it is. So work on it. Use shift commands. Get used to control groups if you don't already. You can also use this very, very useful command, which is select all other units. And I mostly use this for Phantom Lancer because for like creeps like Chen, they're not like continuously spawning. Like when you're creeping, you can just do shift command. But for PL illusions, they like constantly spawn. And you don't want to add every single individual Phantom Lancer illusion that you get to a group, because that would just be really tedious. Clicking shift 2, clicking shift 2, click shift 2, that would just take an absurdly long time. So you can just make a command, select all other units, and just press B. You can also do select all units, such as like 3 for me, for like Lone Druid. That would be pretty useful, right? So I don't actually have this command because it changes per game, and I only have control groups up to 5, although you can have up to 10. Actually 11, I guess. And you want to also have a courier control group if you can. So it's just easier to micro. But for most heroes, you only need like 2, maybe 3 maximum. So just work on that. If you're a newer player, it is a very daunting thing to do. But just get used to it. There's no secret, but eventually you'll become good at it. Thanks, Kevin, for the mailbag question. And for those of you that don't know, I answer a question every week, or it should continue every week now. Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. I used to be in Central time, so it used to be at 7:30 p.m. Central, which equates to 5:30 Pacific. But again, that's every Tuesday night. I'll release that series on YouTube. On top of that, I'm also working on a new series, Merlini Plays Dota 2, where I try and give like first-person commentary of an actual Dota game, and you can see my like thoughts and processes. Just that whole shebang. So please subscribe if you like what you see. I try to release videos. I'm aiming for 2 Merlini Plays Dota 2 a week and 1 Mailbag a week, so hopefully around 3 plus videos a week. But thanks everybody.